climate. What is climate? Climate is the average weather in an area over hundreds of years. To figure out the climate in a certain location, you will need to calculate the average temperature of that certain area spanning across different seasons through many years. Often, when we talk about climate, we will also include the most extreme common weather condition in the area as well. To understand climate, we first need to understand weather. What is weather? Weather describes the atmospheric conditions or air in a certain area. The weather conditions tells us if the air carries anything like snow, rain, thunderstorms, or clouds. The components that make a weather are temperature. Temperature measures the degree of hotness or coldness in a certain place. The temperature can be measured using the units of Celsius, Kelvin, or Fahrenheit. Wind. Wind can affect the weather in many ways. We can feel colder or hotter depending on the wind. Wind speed is also measured to give us more details about the air in a certain area. Precipitation. Precipitation refers to any form of water coming down from the sky, such as snow, rain, hail, and freezing rain. And finally, humidity. Humidity measures the amount of water vapor that is in the air. The humidex, also known as the humidity index, is used to demonstrate how hot the weather feels to people. It is a way of relating heat and humidity. The weather is very important to our everyday lives, since we often discuss it and check the weather before leaving our houses. Weather is how we dress accordingly before we head outside and how we plan our days beforehand. Weather can affect us in many ways. Here are some of the few. Precipitation. All lives on Earth relies on water in order to survive. Rain allows us to survive. Diverse weather conditions. Different weather conditions allows for a diverse amount of crops and plants to grow. We are able to have different crop selections because of this. Preparedness. Governments can use weather technologies to prepare in advance of any major storms that can cause destruction. Weather is not just rain, snow, or sunny days. It can also be very dangerous sometimes. Extreme weather can also happen. Here are some examples of extreme weather. Wildfires. Areas with many forests are prone to forest fires in the summer when it is very hot and dry and the sunlight is at its peak. Many animals get harmed because of wildfires. Extreme storms. There can be many types of storms, namely rain or snowstorms. Some places even have sandstorms. The type of storm depends on the type of climate conditions an area experiences. Cyclones or hurricanes can also occur when many storms happen in the ocean. The storm can bring large bodies of water near land. When cyclones reaches land, it can cause thunderstorms, heavy rains, and strong winds in that area. This can harm a lot of animals, buildings, and people. Earthquakes. Earthquakes occur when land starts moving and cracking. Many man-made buildings, humans, and animals are damaged because of the shaking of the Earth's surface. Tsunamis. Tsunamis are a result of earthquakes. The land under the ocean can also start cracking and moving, causing there to be very strong ocean waves. We call these ocean waves tsunamis. When these waves reaches land, it can cause a lot of damage and harm a lot of lives. Believe it or not, because weather lasts for such a short amount of time, weather conditions can change slightly depending on what month or year it is. Dramatic changes in weather can be grouped into seasons. Why do we have different weather conditions depending on the month, you ask? It is because of the planet we live on. Because Earth rotates around the solar system and itself, its position in the solar system matters, since it determines our season and weather condition. The Earth takes approximately 365 days to rotate around the Sun, which is considered a year. When the Earth is rotating around the Sun, some places get direct sunlight and some places do not. The temperature of a certain place is determined by the amount of sun rays that reaches the surface. This means that weather conditions are affected by how many rays reach the surface. For example, in the winter, we get less sunlight than we do in the summer. There is a group of areas that receive sunlight all year round, which allows them to have warmer temperatures compared to other areas. We call this group of areas the equator. The equator is an imaginary line that goes from east to west across the center of the Earth called the equator. It splits the Earth into the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. There are 4 main seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter. Each season lasts around 3 months. In spring, the weather is very nice. It is not too hot or cold. This nice temperature allows for plants and flowers to start growing. Because of how nice the weather is and how frequent rain is around spring, many people will start planting fruits and vegetables. Animals get out of their hibernation during this season. Spring is usually between March to May. In summer, it is super hot. This season has a lot of sunny days. This season allows for many people to plant flowers, fruits, and vegetables because they can grow in the weather conditions during this time period. Summer usually happens between June to September. In fall, temperatures will gradually decrease. A lot of fruits and vegetables during the season can be harvested. Leaves from trees will start to change colors from green to red and start falling to the ground. Fall is usually between September to November. In winter, it is very cold. During these seasons, there will be snow, hail, or even freezing rain. Because of how cold it is, many animals will go into hibernation. Winter usually happens between December to February. Now that we understand how weather works, let's move on to the longer period of weather. It is climate. Climate is the average weather that takes over a very long period of time, usually around 30 years. There are some animals that can only survive in a certain climate. For example, penguins can only live in cold, snowy places. Penguins need a colder climate in order to survive. The natural home or location of the penguin is called a habitat. There are different climates all around the world. Some of them are unique to specific locations around the world. Here are some of them. Polar chill climate zone. This type of climate is very cold and dry. Not many plants can grow in this type of climate. Animals that live in this type of climate are polar bears, seals, and penguins. Temperate regions. These areas have mild summers and cold winters. Plants are able to grow here. Animals that live in this type of climate are squirrels, rabbits, deers, and bears. Arid zones. The areas with this climate are hot and dry. Plants such as shrubs and short trees can grow here. Animals that live in this type of climate are birds and reptiles. Damp tropical regions. Areas with this type of climate have rains followed by very hot weather. Given that this weather is not dry, a lot of trees and plants can grow here. Animals that live in this type of climate are birds, bats, and small mammals. The mild Mediterranean. These zones have mild winters and hot summers. Animals that live in this type of climate are birds, snakes, and hawks. The cold tundra. The climate in this area is very cold. You can find many mountains in this specific climate. Some small shrubs are present alongside foxes and wolves. Unfortunately, as humans advance and progress, climates are getting worse and worse. For every advancement we make, we are slowly harming our delicate climates and ecosystems. How? One way that humans are causing harm is through deforestation. Deforestation is when humans cut down a forest. By cutting down such a large amount of trees, it can lead to an increase in greenhouse gases because there are not enough trees to convert carbon dioxide into oxygen. This action can lead to a hotter climate. Another way that humans are causing harm is through pollution. The pollution can range from air pollution, water pollution, and even sound pollution. These type of pollution can cause harm to humans, animals on land, and animals in the ocean, as well as lead to a hotter climate. What we do can sometimes cause permanent damage to an area, which can harm the ecosystem in that specific area immensely. Because of the damage that we've caused, there are rapid changes in weather during seasons. Sometimes it rains when it is not supposed to and snow when it is not supposed to. These changes are because of climate change. People and governments all around the world are working together to stop the climate change. Like what you've learned? Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more future content.